All right, well, welcome back, everybody. My name is Josh.
And my name is Taylor.
And we are currently leaving Dunrobin Castle here in Scotland, which is
We are.
pretty crazy to say.
Literally every night when we lay down...
Tone it down.
Every night, I can't help it. Josh always tells me that I need some volume control or whatever, but when I am excited about something, I get loud. And if you've watched our channel or listened to our podcast previously, you will have noticed that, for sure. But anyway, every night when we've laid down in bed on this trip, because we're a couple days in now, I look over at Josh and I'm like, buddy, we're in Scotland right now. Like, this is crazy. Every single night. Like, I just can't get over it.
And I can't get over the tight gates and roadways.
You got plenty of room on my side. Plenty of room on my side.
I should have brought the GoPro 360 and I didn't.
I told you. You're going to have to cross traffic.
Yep.
So there's nothing coming my way.
Good. All right. So probably the most difficult thing so far has been driving. I would consider myself a good driver. Taylor might disagree with that.
No, Josh is a good driver.
But I'll tell you what, it's a completely different world driving on the opposite side of the road when you're so used to driving on the other side.
Not only the opposite side of the road, the opposite side of the car.
That too, yeah. I mean, that does. It's funny because...
Oh my God, that horse is completely in the water.
Oh, yeah, it is. We flew into Glasgow so we did a flight from BWI with Icelandair. It was really cheap. It was about $1,400, I think, round trip for us.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cheap, reasonable airfare. And that included a bag, included our seats.
A carry-on and a personal item.
Yeah. So we flew into Glasgow.
Yeah.
And when I got the car, I think probably the scariest thing was like just getting started. Because I had no idea. Like when we left...
Literally going to get to the car, he walked over to what is the passenger side and was like, oh. I'm like, yeah, buddy, we're on the other side. Like, he knew that, but totally forgot when we got over to the car.
Well, not only that, but even when we started out of the parking lot and out onto the roadway, like, I know I need to be on the left side of the road, but I was, like, scared to death. Am I going down a one-way road? Mm-hmm. You know? Because it's so different. But I got out, there's another car, and I kind of followed them for a little while, got used to it. So I think it's still a little tough to get used to the tightness of the roads. Especially when you're driving by big trucks,
just
like one
that.
just went by. But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what all you can see, like, in the video, like, around us while we're driving, but I hope you can see, like, some of the background a little bit, because this is...
If you can't, you'll just have to watch the actual vlogs.
And so, is that the ocean?
I think that's the actual ocean right over there.
That's really cool. I'm going to look that up.
And that's the rest of Scotland over there. So we are currently up in the Highlands. We are on our way to John O'Groats or Wick. And we are going to be staying there tonight.
That is, in fact, the North Sea.
Yeah. So we're actually going to be staying up here just for tonight at a little B&B. It's called John O'Groats Guest House. And
in John O'Groats. In
John O'Groats. And if you've been, like... We haven't gotten to do a lot of these types of trips, in which where we are doing a road trip. So we've only really done maybe two, I guess. You can consider our Boston trip was one.
Yeah.
Or not Boston, sorry. Maine was one.
Maine was one, but we kind of did that when we went to Boston for a couple days.
A little bit.
Time. We weren't there very long.
But we definitely did this for California.
Definitely California and Maine.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is just us kind of hopping from place to place to stay. So I have not really focused anything on the hotels, except for like the first night where we stayed at the Sheraton Grand Hotel in Edinburgh. Oh my
gosh, that hotel was
hotel.
So nice.
And last night we stayed at an AC Marriott in Inverness. Wouldn't recommend staying there.
If you want a nice hotel, you could stay there.
I mean, it was decent.
But all the rest of the hotels in the area were hostels.
Well, my point is that like tonight I will probably focus a little bit more of the video on where we're staying because it's a local place. It's a bed and breakfast. You know, it's not owned by some chain, at least to our knowledge. And on a road trip like this, like my goal is always to try and like find more local things than it is to try and do like chain things. If that makes
We've
sense.
been doing a really good job of that with food on this trip.
Yeah, specifically, I mean, even today.
Lunch
went to a little
today.
coffee place in the morning in Inverness, or Ness, that's what some people, locals call it, Ness.
Well, that would be a couple different places.
But, and then we went to a little restaurant, cafe.
It was the corner
on the something. Something on the
I
corner?
forget.
Corner on the... Anyways, the food was fantastic.
It was so good.
It was not what you would have expected, in my opinion, to get in Scotland.
No, it
So
wasn't.
I got burrito tacos. Taylor got a venison burger. I mean, like, literally some of the best food we've ever had.
The fish chowder
Oh, yeah, I got
was
fish chowder.
amazing.
So good.
Oh,
So good.
yeah.
So, yeah, we figured we'd do a podcast here in the car. We've got about another hour and a half before we get to John O'Groats. We may stop along the way here if we see something interesting.
Well, we did just stop. We've stopped twice since we left Loch Ness. We stopped at Loch Ness today. They say that it's like a super touristy place to go. I could definitely see that from a few of the places on the way there. But we went to the castle that was near there, and then we just stopped at one shop so that we could get a couple postcards and some stamps to send home.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, just real quick, that so yesterday of our day, we went and did a whiskey tour, and at the end of it, we had talked to the lady who was working inside in the gift shop or whatever. And we asked, they were talking to us about our trip, and we just asked, do you have any recommendations? And she's like, people might not agree with this, but you should just skip Loch Ness.
She said, just drive by it. Just drive by.
And I thought that was kind of funny. And I don't think that she's necessarily wrong. It is basically a big lake. And there's not really much to see on the big lake.
No, it's just really nice views because of the mountains in the background. But we ended up going to the castle. Like I said, we stopped at that one shop, and then we were leaving to go to John O'Groats, which was like a 2.5, no, more than that, almost 3 hour
it's
drive.
About a 3 hour drive from Loch Ness where we were.
Yeah, and we had thought about stopping, getting lunch someplace, but we didn't see anywhere in Loch Ness, and I was like, well, let's just keep driving. I'm sure we'll go through a little town and we can just stop somewhere to eat. And that's where we found that restaurant that was right on the corner. We already said that was delicious. And then we just decided to stop again at the Dunrobin Castle, which we got for this trip, because we haven't really talked anything about this trip at all yet. There's so many castles in Scotland, and there is a thing called the Explorer Pass, and you pay for an Explorer Pass per person. I think it was £44 a person. And then that gets you into a lot of the castles in Scotland. However, it does not get you into privately owned castles, and the Dunrobin Castle was a privately owned one. However, it was very well kept, and the gardens there from above were amazing. And there was just so much to see inside. So I think that was a really cool stop on the way. We almost thought about not stopping, but we did. And I'm glad we did. That was a good little stop.
Yeah, I think it was definitely, you could definitely tell the difference between a government-run castle. Not that they're not well-maintained. They still are. But Dunrobin, it's basically pristine in there.
Well,
they've done a lot of work. It's been upgraded too. There's new doors that are
yeah, there's radiators in there for heat.
They have a top-of-the-line security system in there. There's a camera in every room.
Yeah.
But it's well maintained, and they must do pretty well because they've got quite a bit of staff there.
Yeah, they did.
Running it. They have a falconry, which we didn't get to see. We missed it just by about 20 minutes. But yeah, so we're on our way north. So the beginning of this trip, I guess we could really just, this is kind of like the first video that will come out from the series, which will be the podcast, and then we'll start breaking into some of the video. And I think it's a good opportunity just to kind of be the segue into the series.
Yeah, I think we kind of jumped the gun a little bit. We're talking about what we're doing today, but
Well,
Josh,
I mean, just, because we're in
Josh,
the car drive.
well, yeah, but Josh was talking about how we flew into Glasgow and we got the car, and then we really only stopped at like 2 places in Glasgow before going to Edinburgh, and we spent a couple days in Edinburgh. I think we had like pretty much 2 full days almost in Edinburgh before we left.
Yeah,
to go to Inverness.
Yeah, so Glasgow, we only really had like one place in mind to go to in Glasgow.
There's a distillery there.
And that was a place that was kind of like inspiration for Harry Potter. I don't think it was actually a shooting location, but it was inspiration for some of the sets. And that is the Glasgow University, or the University of Glasgow.
Yeah.
And so it was really actually tough to find a place to park.
It was really challenging.
Also hadn't had anything to eat. Plus that, it was stressful to start.
Yeah.
So we literally, like, that's all we went. We just went into there, looked around, got a few photos, and then walked back to the car, and then went to a place to eat, which was like a little pub. It's the oldest pub, I believe, in Glasgow, so they claim. I don't know if it's actually true, but yeah, so we did that, and then our trip, I think, also kind of funny, because going back to that same lady that we talked to, she said that she does a lot of holidays in the States, and they do road trips.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really funny that her last road trip, they flew into Chicago and drove south and did like Kentucky and Tennessee and
St. Louis, she said.
St. Louis. They did one other place while they were here. But she said her biggest advice would be to, like, if you see something that looks interesting, then just go do it. And which is really kind of cool, because I think that's our mentality that we have
ever since our California trip.
Right. Was if we saw something, we would stop and do it. And so part of that means that your trip really needs to be flexible. And if you're a big planner and you have to have everything planned down to the second, it'd be tough for you to do what we're doing. But I think in the end, it really has worked out so far for us.
Oh my gosh, there's a little golf course right along the water there.
Where? Like right here?
Right
on the other side?
Yeah, right on the other side of that train track.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. This countryside is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, this is really pretty right here.
Can you just shoot a little bit on your phone?
Yeah.
So I bring that whole thing up about being flexible, because we were supposed to have this full day kind of tour or excursion Saturday, where we were going to ride the Jacobite steam
Wow. Jacobite steam train.
Thank you. And unfortunately, there was a dispute with the Scotland government, I think. I could be totally wrong, but that's basically what they said. And they had to cancel. They had basically told us that we weren't going to be able to do that. You still do the tour, but you weren't going to get to be on the train. We booked that tour specifically so we could ride the steam train,
because the tickets are sold out.
It sells out, yeah. So when they told us that we couldn't do that, we decided to cancel. And it allowed us to kind of change up our schedule. It was pouring down rain on Friday, all day, which was going to be the day that we were going to spend all day in Edinburgh and walking around, do the Royal Mile, see some of the Harry Potter inspirational stuff, do the castle. And we were like, you know what? We've got Saturday now totally open. Saturday was supposed to be beautiful, 60 degrees, no rain. So we just decided that Friday would be a day for us to catch up on some work. We did go do the castle tour, which was in the rain. You guys got to see that. But
it was wild.
Yeah. But then Saturday we just did a lot of Edinburgh. And today's Monday, I think.
Yes, it's Monday.
So we did a lot of Edinburgh on Saturday. Sunday was when we actually left Edinburgh. And we didn't move the car.
No, we did Edinburgh Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, yeah.
We left Sunday.
We left the car at the hotel. I didn't want to move it. I was so stressed driving through the city and this whole opposite thing. I'm pretty good now, and you guys will probably hear it beep every so often. That's the lane assist. It's okay. I'm not gonna wreck. But
he's getting close to
the
edge of the road typically, because cars are coming the other direction, so he's trying to stay away from them.
Driving with two hands on the steering wheel.
Josh has a problem with talking with his hands, so he can't.
I do. I know.
You do.
It's a problem. But it's been pretty great so far. Short of just like a few things that like sometimes things just have to change in the moment and you won't be able to do it. It's been super, super windy the last 3 days. We were going to go to a castle called Dunatar? That's how I said it, but she
I don't know
corrected me.
Yeah, but we're Americans, so.
I know. So it's up on the west, on the east coast, and we didn't end up going because it was closed due to wind. So instead, we went to the Stirling Castle yesterday after we went to the whiskey distillery, which is really cool. So, but it's been cool, I think, so far.
Yeah.
Look at all them sheep out there.
I know. I can't stop looking at the sheep. We got here a good time of year. There's so many baby sheep everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, it's been eye-opening for me because I have to drive on this side of the road. I
will tell you that you've definitely been getting better.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Day by day. Because it was a struggle those first 2 days.
I was really planning when we started like looking at this trip. We've been trying to plan a trip like this for the last couple of years, and we just happened to like. We were like, what are we going to do in April? We need something to do. We need to figure something out. Yeah. We didn't really want to do something in the States because debatable on like weather and price to get there and do things. And you might be like, how was coming to Scotland cheaper than doing something in the States? Trust me, I think we're still going to come out ahead if we would have done something similar in the States driving around. But I just happened to what I do is I just start looking for, I think we talked about this a little bit already, which is like I will look at flights. And if I can find cheap flights, then I'll base the trip around those flights.
Yep.
And we hit it like perfectly. Coming right after Easter and spring break out of the States, but also Easter's a national or a worldwide holiday for a lot of countries. When we showed up in Edinburgh at the hotel, there was not like almost a single space in the parking lot. And the next day, there was only like maybe 5 cars in the whole parking garage. So we hit it at just the right time to get here on shoulder season, where a lot of the tourists have left. The weather is still kind of cold. It can still be rainy. It's still going to be windy. But we get a really great opportunity just to kind of explore Scotland without like the rush of the crowds, I think, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was just listening.
Oh, okay.
I'm enjoying the view right now.
Yeah, it is quite scenic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
There's like a little church down there.
So I was planning when we were talking about this. This is why I started down that planning route, because I was like, well, what if like we don't pay to stay in a hotel? What if we got like an RV or like did a camper van? Potentially could be cheaper. You know, we might be spending a lot more money in gas to like because it's a bigger vehicle to get there and back around and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God I did not do that. Thank God. I am like almost crapping my pants driving in a car.
Well, we're in like kind of like a smaller SUV-ish, like a crossover or something. Yeah. And it's
we were supposed to have a Ford Focus.
Yeah, like a small car.
Hatchback, I think.
Yeah.
And we got there, and the girl saw that we had 2 big suitcases, 2 carry-ons on our backpacks. She's like, I'm going to see if I can give you a bigger vehicle. And I was like, please don't be too much bigger. Like
the little babies, they're all over.
Oh, there's a bunch of them out there, too.
Oh.
Yeah, my recommendation is if you're going to come, even to the UK, like let's not like rule out Scotland, but if you're just going to come to the UK in general and drive, don't do it in anything big. Get it like a smaller car so that you can get used to driving on these smaller roads.
Yeah, unless you're used to really, really tiny roads with no shoulder.
Yeah, there's
and
like
driving on the opposite side of the road, on the opposite like side of the car, like get a smaller vehicle.
Yeah. It is much easier too, for me anyways, to drive in traffic, like with other cars. I don't know why, but I have a lot less anxiety, and I feel like maybe just because there's just the other cars are here, and I can judge better where my position is in the lanes when there's opposite traffic coming. And it is just stunning out here.
Yeah, it is. Dang. We're still on the podcast, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping for you to contribute a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there's our first dead deer.
That is the first dead deer. We've been seeing signs this whole entire trip for deer.
Or elk.
Or elk, whatever the signs are for. And that's the first one that we've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, the widow sheepy. It's crazy that the ocean's literally right there, though. Well, the main things that I've been looking forward to on this trip were Edinburgh, because there's a photographer I follow on Instagram that must live in Edinburgh, or nearby at least, because his whole Instagram is all photos from Edinburgh. So I was really excited, and I started following this guy like months ago, before I even thought we were coming here. I just saw it scrolling through Instagram. It was like suggested for you, and I was like, oh, that picture's actually really nice. So I followed him, and I'm like, I need to go there. And here we are. We ended up there, and I was recognizing some of the places that we were going just based on the pictures. So I'm really excited we got to go to Edinburgh. We got to go to the street that supposedly inspired Diagon Alley, Victoria Street. Mm-hmm. I made Josh get up at the... they're right there. The little
Oh, God, you
babies.
scared me.
They're right by the fence. Josh can't drive with me. It's bad sometimes because I gasp. But we got to go to the street that like inspired Diagon Alley for Harry Potter, which was really cool. Look at the coast there.
Yeah, I know.
And then we went into some really cool little shops. Like I said, I got Josh up super early in the morning because I wanted to get there before anybody was on Victoria Street. So we got over there about, it was like 7:30 in the morning. Nothing really starts opening until between 8 and 10 o'clock, just depending on what it is.
Especially for
coffee and breakfast places,
Saturday.
but open between 8 and 9. You would think earlier, because in the U.S., like,
chicken,
a lot of coffee places start opening like 6 o'clock in the morning. Nope, 8 or 9 o'clock over here. And then all the shops started opening between like 9 and 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is pretty
Look
cool.
at that.
If there's a parking place over here, I would stop and get the drone out for the first time.
Well, just keep an eye out because there might be, honestly.
The coastal area here reminds me a little bit of California and a little bit of Maine.
Oh gosh, look at that. So pretty.
Super rocky.
Really rocky, yeah.
Yeah, this is super, super cool. So,
It is. You picked a poor time to start doing the podcast.
I know. I can't help it. Helmsdale.
But the other place I was really looking forward to is Isle of Skye, which we're going to be getting to in like a day or two.
Yeah. Yep.
Something like that.
Yep.
So I am excited for that as well.
Yeah, we had a really great conversation with, we did the whiskey tour, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was the Glen
Turret.
Glen Turret Distillery, the oldest working distillery.
Yeah. I say that just because apparently I was saying that was the oldest one.
But it's not technically the oldest one. It's
In
the oldest
Scotland.
working one.
So, but we had a really great conversation with our tour guide, who gave us a tour, and the lady who was working the shop. They were just telling us about some different things here in Scotland and whatnot, which was cool. Again, we've been trying to like just get some, if somebody has a suggestion for us that's along the route, we're trying to go there and hit that, because, why not, We don't know really anything about Scotland or anything like that, so. And I think it's really cool too, just these towns, like these little villages. They're so, I don't know, is quaint the right word?
Sure, yeah.
But they're just really cool.
They are.
And a lot of B&Bs.
Oh, yeah, we've been seeing a lot of B&Bs.
Anything else you want to add? Or?
I'm sorry, I can't focus because I'm just like watching everything. It's insane. I want to say these are some of the best views we've had on this trip, but that's not true. We've had amazing views like constantly. This whole entire trip has been like just beautiful views. And I think that has been one of the best parts, is just everything that you get to see along these roads.
As far as like the trip goes, I brought the drone, but I haven't done much of any flying whatsoever so far. Scotland's actually kind of interesting, or the UK is actually pretty interesting in how they operate with drones. So you actually have to take a test that is issued, I believe, by the Scottish government up here in Scotland. And you have to pass that test. There's 40 questions. If you know your stuff, it's like super easy. I missed one question. I got 39 out of 40. But it's relatively easy to do. But there's a lot of restrictions.
Look at all the sheep herded right there.
Oh yeah, they do. Look at that.
Oh, the little dog's laying there. That dog probably herded those sheep in there.
Probably. There's a lot of like restrictions. I think a little bit more strict than probably the US.
Do you know what I just noticed? The music is playing in the background.
Oh.
Has it been doing that the whole time?
It might be.
I have no idea.
So the laws here are a little bit more strict. I didn't fly in Edinburgh, didn't fly in Glasgow, just because like city is just basically like I just don't want to get fined $1 bazillion
at the beginning of our trip too.
Right. And I think a lot more of like the really cool like scenic stuff is going to be up here anyways. And so I'm going to get it out here at some point and start flying. So we are on what's called the NC 500, which is, I think, both good and bad.
Oh, there's a parking spot right here.
Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and pause the podcast here.
That's right where that van's at.
See, that's the lane assist. It's telling me that I am hitting the lines. All right, we're back in the car, and
we had to take a little pit stop there on the side of the road.
Yeah, I got the drone out and flew it for a little bit, about 5 minutes, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
So we are driving up the coast here on the NC 500. This is, I think I was starting to say that
you
about
were,
the NC
yes.
500. This is kind of like a good and bad thing. So it has grown a little bit of like notorious, I guess, with RVs and campers. And I guess a lot of local residents don't really care for it that much. They say that it like creates a lot of problems with traffic and different things.
Oh, there's an RV right there.
Speaking of, we're about to pass one who is parked on the side of the road here at a parking spot. So, I mean, I don't really know much else about like the grift that's going on with that, but
I'm sure it just ends up backing up roads sometimes on like, because there's a lot of hills and stuff here.
Yeah, we have not hit any tight roads where like we need to get off to the side, like onto the shoulder to let somebody else pass.
One time, but it was another car, and we.
No. I mean like up here.
Yeah, yes, not up here. Not on this. This has been like a
roads.
2-lane road the whole entire time.
Yeah. We haven't really hit any single roads or single lane roads. Yeah. Maybe we will hit that here at some point. We just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's coming down the west side, but this is so shocking. We just came back out of like a little village. The speed limit on this road is 60 miles an hour.
Yes.
Which is really crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm. So, and there's not a passing and no passing zones. Like
in the U.S. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, here on this road.
But I mean like in the U.S.
In the U.S. there's passing zones and no passing zones.
Right.
Based on what the lines are in the middle. If you've got a dashed white line, you can pass. If you have a double yellow line in the middle, you can't pass.
Right.
Well, over here, it's a dashed white line all the time. So it's basically just up to you if you want to pass or not.
Yeah, there was a guy in a truck who apparently didn't.
He was apparently in a hurry.
Yeah.
Us and the cars in front of us have been going about the same speed the whole entire time, like right around 60, which I think is fast enough because there's a lot of turns on these roads, and they're relatively narrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Taylor made the point earlier today that if you're used to driving this road, you know, you could probably do it at 70 miles an hour because you know all the turns and how to take it, and you know you're so used to cars coming at you, so like it's not, you know, probably that big of a deal. But I mean, it's pretty twisty turny for even 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So. And that guy must have been going 70.
Yeah, once he got past us, I mean, and to catch up to us the way he did.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty interesting trip, and I think this has kind of been the one thing that I've been looking forward to is the NC 500, which, again, just to give you guys more of an explanation of like what that is, it's basically the road that goes pretty much like out around the Highlands. So, you know, you can either start on the east side or you can start on the west side, but essentially it goes all the way north and cuts around, and you know, you can kind of do a giant big circle around the Highlands on the NC 500.
Yes.
So we're not necessarily doing that entirely. There goes somebody else.
Oh,
like,
yep.
Oh, man.
Fine.
You know, we're not necessarily doing that. I mean, we are on it, and we're going up here into the Highlands, and we're doing the coastal stuff. But, you know, I think it was much better to come up here with just a car and, you know, try to find some local bed and breakfasts to stay at while we're up here. Again, because I just think that, like, you know, it's nice to be able to do one of these things where we're not like
Highland
bombarded.
cows.
Yeah, there they are.
Oh my God, there's a bunch. Holy.
Oh
my God, those people are stopped back there.
Yeah, should I turn around?
Maybe.
Can I find a place to turn around?
I don't know.
No, we'll turn around.
No,
Go back.
I feel weird. It's somebody's farm.
They probably don't care. It probably happens all the time.
It probably does, but I feel weird about it. No, just keep going.
Okay, fine.
Just
We're gonna
keep going.
It's got to stop and turn around so Taylor can go pet the Highland cows.
No, I'm not doing that on somebody's farm.
But they're all going to be on somebody's farm.
No, they're not. There's free roaming ones all over the place.
Oh, okay.
That's what the blogs claim. I checked the dates on said blogs.
So another thing that I think is really interesting from this trip so far is that there are no police out on the road, at least not from what we've seen so far, who are checking your speed, right? In the U.S., we're so used to
Police everywhere.
State police or local police who are like sitting on the side of the road trying to hide sometimes and get you with the speed guns, you know, write you a ticket. It's a lot more automated here, which I think would be an excellent thing to do in the U.S. Why we haven't done it yet, I don't know. But basically, on all of the major highways, and even in the city and in the towns, they actually just have speed trap cameras, and they're not even speed traps, because they give you plenty of warning to let you know that, hey, there's a speed camera up here, and if you're going over the speed limit, like, you're going to get a ticket, which I think is really cool. Out here, I think this is the first time in a while that we've seen like some kind of aggressive drivers, but I kind of like that because it just, you know, I don't know. I think I have a little bit less anxiety of like speeding because I don't really need to speed. You know, the pace is set pretty well already. So I just thought it was interesting. Like, if you're coming over here to drive a vehicle, just be aware that there are cameras. And if you're speeding, I don't know how, like, if there's a buffer, like usually like in the US, it's like, you know, my one friend Chris says, you know, 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine is like the saying, but you know, it just depends on the police officer probably.
Well, I think it also depends, on the country that you're in, because I was watching.
I said in the US.
Oh,
what
yeah.
I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, because I was watching a video the other day of a girl who lives in Germany, and she was going 6 kilometers over the speed limit, which in miles per hour is like roughly 2 miles per hour over the speed limit, and she got a ticket. So you got to be careful when you're somewhere else how fast you go over the speed limit. But we've literally been going like 60 or under on these roads.
Yeah, even when the speed limit's been 70, I've been like kind of I've been going like 65.
Yeah.
Just in case.
We stay in the slow lane and
You know.
in the, what do they call it? Dual carriage roads.
Yeah. Just because I'm not really used to it yet.
Yeah.
Still. I mean, I am getting used to it, but...
I feel like we've covered a lot of the stuff that we've done so far and what we're currently doing. We still have quite a bit of the trip left. We have not made it to John O'Groats yet, and we still have all of, like, the rest of the Highlands, if you will, going across the top and then down the west side over to Isle of Skye. We'll be out in Isle of Skye. I think we're staying out there 2 nights total, and then we're going to Glencoe, and we'll be staying in Glencoe for a few nights before going back to the airport to stay for 1 night in Glasgow. But really, my 2 high points for what I want to do on the trip were Edinburgh, which we've already done, and then Isle of Skye once we get there. Everything else in between is really just a bonus because it's all been so great. I did not personally do a ton of research into this trip. This mostly Josh did the research for this trip. I did help book most of the hotels. Josh booked the 2 bed and breakfasts, and then I picked all the rest of the hotels that we stayed at. But yeah, so this is we're on the trip together, but this is like your trip, if you will. Like how when we went to Las Vegas, that was kind of my trip.
I've been wanting to do the UK too.
You have?
But we knew, when we kind of started talking about it and planning it, there just was no way to do both. And I think that's even more so true now with this giant truck coming at us.
It's not coming at us. It's on the other side of the road.
It felt like it was coming at us. I think it's even more so true now that we're here, and we've basically set aside 10 days to do Scotland, and it still feels like maybe it's certainly still not enough.
We definitely could have spent more time up here.
There's a lot of stuff that I wonder if that place caught on fire over there and they're rebuilding.
Oh, maybe.
Looks like there's an old church or
an old building, if you will,
or something. Not a castle, but they're rebuilding maybe the roof or something. They've caught on fire. So, one thing that I thought has been really interesting that I've kind of enjoyed, not to be on the political aspect of any of our videos or podcasts, but this in some way will end up political for somebody. It's gonna pinch.
Okay. Anyway. What are you even saying?
But what I thought has been really cool, especially here in Scotland, is that a lot of places have really tried to go above and beyond to be, organic. I don't really care so much about because I think
it's
that's
the
just
environmentally friendly.
But yeah, they really try to do a lot of stuff,
reusing and
recycling. They try to just be environmentally friendly with a lot of things.
There's low efficiency zones in some of the cities.
Yeah.
Or low emission.
Low emission.
High efficiency, low emission.
You have to have a low emissions vehicle
to be in certain
LED
areas.
zones in the cities. And there's a lot of cities around, even in, I think even some of the cities in the U.S. have started to do that. But I think it's really nice. It maybe doesn't necessarily change the product itself as much at face value for us and how we interact with it or use it, but it's just nice to know. The whiskey tour that we did, as you guys will see in the video, they didn't redo their whole place, but they spent a ton of money to try and recycle literally everything that they use and do in there.
As much as they possibly can.
We went to this really cool bar in Inverness last night, and all of their stuff, again, I don't really care about it being organic because I think it's a marketing term, but they also all of their stuff in there for their glasses and their shirts or whatever, that's all recycled materials. So they try to reuse as much as they can in their products so they're not wasting as much. And I showed my support as well by eating basically 2 whole pizzas by myself. I don't want them to go.
I didn't tell you to order 2 pizzas. You chose to order 2 pizzas.
So, but it's been interesting. One thing that we have not gotten to do a lot of, and not that it's something I regret yet, Oh, there's some alpacas.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we've only seen those like one other time. Oh, there's so many colors.
Has been gin. So we did a whiskey tour. I really wanted to do a gin tour. We were going to do it in Edinburgh, but the place closed because they were building a brand new facility. And if you don't know, Hendrick's Gin is a Scottish brand. It's made here in Scotland, but it is a very closed-door secret facility. They don't allow the public into there, for whatever reason, for good reason maybe, so that they can do their stuff. But some of the cool gin places, like small, like a lot of places I've seen are small batch, which means that they're all like, they don't make them like mass produced like Hendrick's is. So the small batches, they can get like some different flavors, some different content. This guy's on the line.
Maybe just keep both hands on the wheel instead of talking with your hand like this.
Maybe.
You're giving me anxiety.
But a lot of the cool gin places are actually on the smaller islands off of Scotland. So we just don't have time to get out there to do them. Especially with how windy it's been, we found out that like sometimes they will close the ferries. Bro.
They're inside the line, bro.
No, he was crossing the line over here. My goodness.
But what's also really funny is that I just said maybe you shouldn't talk with your hands, and then you're talking with your hand.
Yeah, I'm doing it like nobody's coming. When somebody's coming, I put my other hand on the wheel.
It's
Anyways,
so funny.
they close the ferries down for the cars to get like back and forth between the islands. If it does get super windy out, this is dangerous.
It's been pretty windy the last few days.
So, we just don't have enough time to do everything. So we might still find like a gin distillery that is inland and is able to go to, or we are able to go to. We'll just have to wait and see. I think there was one down near Glencoe, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't look, honestly.
Region. So we'll see. But yeah, there's we really haven't done very much for getting here on Thursday, and it's now Monday. Like, we haven't traveled very far, right? We've done a tiny bit of Glasgow, seen a lot of Edinburgh, did a little bit of a drive yesterday, seen a lot of castles, and I wanted to make sure that this trip was not castle intensive, because I think that can get
a little redundant.
It can get a little redundant, especially like if we're trying to make a video about stuff. So, but it is kind of cool. I mean, to see something that's been around since,
well, yeah, and
the 14, 15.
The castle that we just saw before we started this podcast, it was like built in a completely different time period.
The Victorian time.
Yes, than all of the other castles that we've been seeing that are like a little more medieval. So been very interesting to see, like, especially after that one we just saw, the different style of castle and
see, right there's a bus
everything
stop.
that's indoors. Oh yeah.
Old
oh,
Smitty.
You know what? We
could have went to Old Smitty Inn.
Old Smitty. I guess we have been seeing quite a few bus stops. Because I remember a while ago remember those guys we saw cleaning that one?
Yes.
Like a ways back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, too, that's been really amazing, kind of eye-opening, is the amount of investment that gets put into public spaces here.
Yeah.
Compared to what is in the U.S. Now, like, if you're, like, in a major city in the U.S., there's going to be green space, because, like, it's, like, required. There's also going to be, like, sidewalks and things like that. What's crazy about being over here is that, like, we haven't seen it since we've been on the NC 500, but in between, like, some of the towns or villages or even some of the cities, like out on the highways, there are sidewalks that are paved and they are well maintained for people to just get out and walk and, like, see the countryside. It's insane. It's really crazy. It's super cool. And I wish that, like, the U.S. could invest more money into that, or states more specifically could maybe invest more money into that to give people, more kind of like leeway to get outside and do things.
But then car sales would go down.
I know, right? But it's really cool. It's just like, again, like, culturally speaking, even though that, like, we both speak a variation of English, right.
American English.
We both, like write and read for the most part in English.
For the most part? What is that supposed to
Well,
mean?
Scotland is like their national language is the Gaelic language, so it's a little bit different. But they do also like everything is in English. But like the culture things, it's just things are still like a little bit different here, and I think
they are.
It's a good opportunity to get that exposure.
Everybody seems really nice over here.
Yeah.
Like really nice.
We have yet to like really run into anybody who's kind of like been standoffish.
Yeah, no.
I saw one guy that was yesterday at Stirling Castle. He was pulling a trailer behind his truck, and I think like maybe he was picking his family up or something. And some of the castles have like no parking. Like they have a parking lot, but they're pretty small. Stirling was pretty big.
Yeah, it was.
But they weren't allowing people to park up there with a trailer, and this guy just like, I guess, flew right past the gate and just pulled right in, and they came like running over, and they're like, "Sir, you can't park." And he was like really frustrated. It's the first time I've seen somebody like,
But who knows?
upset.
He might not have even been from here.
It's also true. He might not have been. So, look at this. This lady is waiting for the bus or somebody to pick her up.
She sure is.
But yeah, so it's been a good trip.
A reason we just mentioned about the bus stops back there is because a little while ago we saw a backpacker on the side of the road.
A ton of people backpacking.
Just on the side of the road. He's just walking a little bit. He's looking at stuff, just smiling. And Josh was like, "Oh, look, a backpacker." And I was like, "How the heck did he get clear out here?" Like we were in the middle of nowhere there for a little bit.
This is like.
Oh, we're in Wick.
This is it, huh? You were like, where do these people go to shop?
This is where they go to shop.
Right here.
Yep, that's it. But yeah, so there's lots of bus stops. I did read a few blogs, just like some posts, just like searching, like, can you visit Scotland without a rental car? Can you go to the Highlands, by train or bus or whatever? And there are people that obviously they do, but I've also read that there are people that have been able to visit the Scottish Highlands without renting a car. They either bust, which seemed to be the most popular up here in the Highlands area. There's also people have trained or have done a little bit of both, a little bit of train, a little bit of bus. So just interesting. Especially yesterday when we were in Inverness, we saw a ton of backpackers.
Yeah, we did see quite a few people backpacking quite a bit. So, but yeah, so we are getting pretty close to John O'Groats. We are going to sign off. I would ask for your questions, and then we could talk about them and answer them, like in a future video from Scotland. But that won't happen because this is going to be like the introduction to kind of the series.
Well, you can still leave questions in the comments, and
then we can answer them.
And we can answer them in a later podcast where we kind of we can. I think we should even like recap the entire trip.
Sure. Once
we've done everything.
Sure, absolutely. But yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed, I don't know, can I go? Am I able to go?
I think you just need to commit.
I mean, I see green lights. I don't know. This is a little crazy one here.
Oh, that's a cool building.
But yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody, and you'll hear us and see us in the next one.